Welcome to the Football Show on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. I'm Peter Martin. Alan Ruff, Tam McManus and Hugh McDonald here with me on the show. And thank you to you for joining us on a regular basis, Monday to Friday at 4 o'clock. And of course, not forgetting now that Tam and I take you through Saturday at around about 4 o'clock till 6 with the half-time updates and all the full-time reaction from managers and players as well. So there's 6 days of programming there. There's lots of additional unique video content. And if you download the PLZ Soccer app, you get the chance to get all the breaking football news at your fingertips. So there's lots of ways you can enjoy PLZ Soccer, including, of course, winning competitions. And we've got a brand new one starting right now.
It's another fantastic competition from PLZ Soccer. If you would like to win this replica Luka Modric shirts, then all you have to do is answer this simple question. Just tell us, which country does Luka Modric play for? Post your answer in the comment section below, and to double your chances of winning, don't forget to hit the subscribe button on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. Good luck.
Kerry's turning into our competition guru, Ruffy, to be perfectly honest with you. And there it is there. Yep. We were out there, we queued quite a long time to get it as well. Modric, and I couldn't think of a better player.
Yeah, he was excellent that night when we saw him, and he's excellent every time we see him. He just controls the game, I mean, that souvenir shop was absolutely packed and stuff was flying out the door, and you were fortunate enough you got one.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, you really splashed out. You bought a keyring. So there you are.
So tight, you know.
He really is, by the way.
Money in it.
And by the way, he queued and then handed over the keyring, and then how much is that? I mean, honestly, so tight,
or something.
unbelievable.
I went, what? €10?
So the competition, that's the new one starting today, and it'll go all the way through until Saturday. And I can tell you, well done to John O'Neill is the winner. John O'Neill from Motherwell, who wins the canvas signed by Jota, that brilliant print, Ruffy. And I have to say, you did promise that you would go and deliver it to him. So
Yeah, just tell me where he is and I'll be there. It's, I have not seen one bad print for Gio.
Yep.
I've never seen a print of anybody that every one of them are absolutely
Birmingham.
fantastic.
Boys, it's Solihull.
yeah, he's originally from Motherwell, Ruffy.
Right.
I know, exactly. I just want to say hello to everybody. I haven't been home for about 5 years. So
Toronto.
Yeah, I know.
Like that,
well, the good thing is we are next week going to run a competition where you're only allowed to enter if you have a 5-bedroom house in Florida. We just want to kind of narrow the field, Tam, so we can get out there. But the competition this week is a good one. That replica shirt there is not bad, because we all do love our replica stuff, don't we? Especially Christmas presents.
That's the Christmas.
Wee bit of Boca Juniors.
Wee bit of Boca Juniors. I love the story of Ruffy going in and buying just buying the key ring for 10 years. The World Cup, we went in the first day. It was Japan v West. I was going to say West Germany. Japan v Germany was the game time, and I went into the FIFA shop outside the ground, and it was, you can imagine, it was mobbed. And this guy had literally, I mean, like, it was just trolley after trolley of stuff, and seeing his receipt with it. He went outside and he got pictured with his receipt, and they were all holding it. It was running like that. It was like a guy was landing a prized marlin or something like that. It was huge. And luckily I go and got served by the same guy for my wee key ring and my jersey. And the guy said to me, "See that man?" He said,
"Yeah,
thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars just about cleared the shop."
And why?
It's like. But seeing these shops at the World Cup, that's one thing I noticed about the World Cup with merchandise and all that. People are just taking stuff.
Just because you get World Cup on it.
Because there's World Cup on it.
Wow, that's incredible. I have to say, I did notice this email coming in earlier, because you can, if you download the PLZ Soccer app, you can actually message us on submissions as well, where we get a chance to read out some of your stuff. But David Sinclair says, "Morning from Sydney, 3 a.m. You guys are killing me." He gets up regularly at 3 a.m. Now, he doesn't realise, obviously, David, that you can watch it at your leisure a wee bit later on, unless I was just about to say, unless David wants to absolutely batter us and don't miss the opportunity. But you can actually just, have a wee lie in and then catch up with it all,
Devotion for you.
It really is, isn't it? It's fantastic. So David from obviously in Sydney, fantastic, David, that you're joining us. We really do appreciate it. And from near and far, so many people actually mentioned to us that they join us, expats who just want to hear a wee bit of the chat, a wee bit of banter. And of course, that story is an absolute belter of the guy going in and buying all the World Cup memorabilia. I've done that a few times, Ruffy, but not to the tune of the receipts that your man has been doing.
No, but I'm sure if you'd been given the chance, you probably would have over there in the World Cup. The World Cup is the jerseys that you want, and we all know how well you like buying replica jerseys, you know, or sometimes of a specific player, but teams in the World Cup, there's a lot of icon teams, isn't there, that you would...
You're high-end,
give me three. What would be your 3 World Cup jerseys from that World Cup? What would the 3...
Argentina, Messi.
Yeah.
Mbappe, France.
Which, by the way,
France, Argentina, Brazil.
we are giving away an Argentina Messi with the 3 stars on the top of it. So that's coming up as well. You always want to go Brazil, don't you?
Aye.
You know? And
have to get a Brazilian in
and
there.
strangely enough,
Richarlison after the goal, maybe.
is Croatia's iconic because of the squares?
I think Croatia's a great strip as well.
Isn't it?
Modric strip for the World Cup would be...
I've got a couple of them in the house, Croatia. Played against them, Scotland in the 21s.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Swapped with a guy, Babic, that played with Bayer Leverkusen.
Oh, I remember
He's a
that.
left wing back or something like that. I've got his in the house.
That's
It's
good.
Absolutely ginormous.
You
All
can-
the strips back to him are an XXXXL.
Yeah. Do you know who ruined it, by the way? I think it was Francesco Totti and the Italians who ruined it. All of a sudden they decided to wear the skin tight ones. And you know, and the chubsters started to think, hey, calm down, we're not buying it at the top anymore. Any chance you get back to these?
We wore them in Limerick. I just finished my career, and I was starting to put the pounds on, and we had the tight.
Yeah.
It was a tight Limerick strip, and oh my God,
Couldn't
I had
breathe.
Under Armour underneath it, just trying hard everything. But Spanx.
We had we could have given you 2 vests that Gordon Smith had bought us. It just sucks the air in at the back.
Nothing better. There's nothing better than walking about a beach in holiday with a strip on, an iconic strip.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've got the Croatia one.
Frightened it fits you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that mine's the Brazil one I had was sparkly. It was a sort of a yellow sparkly.
You always like a
material.
Brazilian holiday anyway, didn't you?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, we're still on here. It's Ruffy, Tammy McManus and Hugh McDonald and myself, Peter Martin. Thank you very much to all of you who've joined us on a regular basis and the subscribers. And of course, we like to interact with you. We'll read out some of your messages. Here's a wee quiz question. We'll give you the answer at the end of the show because we're going to talk about Hibs against Aberdeen because of what happened in that game. But Hibs won it by 6-0. Josh Campbell scored a hat-trick. When was the last time a Hibs player scored a hat-trick against Aberdeen? You want to give us a year, Ruffy?
No, I'm well at my depths in this one.
No? You want to even try a player?
Okay.
It's a good while ago. So,
60s.
go on, what
gonna
do you
tell
want
you,
me to
just
cap-
guess somebody.
Just guess a year.
I'll go Alan Gordon.
And the year?
69.
69.
I'll go a wee bit late. I'll go Joe Harper.
Joe Harper's not a bad guess because he was prone to the odd hat-trick, wasn't he?
So it's a wrong guess if it's not a bad guess. So when I said Joe Harper, I didn't mean it at all.
Joe Baker. Jim O'Rourke.
Jim O'Rourke.
Right, what year?
72.
And for yourself, I don't know. I don't even know why I'm looking at you, by the way. You can't remember.
I'm just going to have a wild guess at Steve Cowan.
Stevie Cowan.
Stevie Cowan, good lad, good broadcaster, Stevie.
Don't know.
Yeah, what?
Just come into my head. Don't know.
86 or something like that?
Nah, 86.
Unbelievable, by the way. Honestly,
I'm wrong. Shut up.
unbelievable. Anyway, all good guesses. I wonder if you can guess the last Hibs player. What year was it that they scored a hat trick? And if you want to throw in who you think it is, then by all means get onto it. Okay, and just one little thing here, which is afternoon gents having due to attending Glasgow on Saturday. I took the chance to take a wander to Firhill to watch Ruffy's team take on Hamilton. Nice little ground. Friendly staff, half decent Scotch pie, and good banter with my neighbours in the home end. So that's good. And he says, unfortunately, that's where the plus points end. No atmosphere, no shots on target, no chance of me going back. Luckily, I have a visit to Brunton Park to look forward to Carlisle United. That should lift my mood with 3 points against Barrow, but I worry about Ruffy's health, having to endure that every week. Please make sure he has the support he needs, but to help him, I've enclosed a link showing Carlisle's 1,600 strong away support celebrating a 1-0 win at Rochdale on Saturday as a reminder that football can sometimes be enjoyable, says Steve Clark. So there you are. Not a great game, Ruffy, but we're going to talk now about something that, seriously, I don't think any of us anticipated it. You tipped Aberdeen to win.
No.
I tipped Aberdeen to win 1-0. I thought they'd get a
madness,
response. But
Tried
by
to
the
talk
way,
Tam Cowan out it.
I know, but can I just say something
Put
to you?
money on.
It was the saddest pictures that we watched on Saturday. Very few things actually catch you in football about it, players or managers when they're going. But watching Jim Goodwin walk across that Easter Road pitch, it was so sad, brutal about football, and he's got the bag and he's walking across when the Aberdeen players, substitutes, are doing their warm down. There's Hibs players on the park. He's been sacked, and he must have been walking over to a car that was either coming to get him or one that he'd driven in himself, knowing full well he might be going home on his own.
Well, he was hardly going to go out the front door, to be honest.
Absolutely.
He was walking across the pitch to that away, behind that away stand where the away bus or away coaches or cars are always situated. To see the players running, doing the runs after the Aberdeen players, probably the fastest they'd ran all day. Yeah, listen, it's never great to see anyone lose their job, but listen, I think you could have sacked him at half time. I think with Jim there's always a degree of sympathy for managers when they lose their job, but they were absolutely pathetic. It was an embarrassing performance, 6-0, it could have been 8 or 9. Aberdeen totally chucked it, and the thing with Jim is he's looking out in that pitch and he signed all the players. Yep. You know, it's not as if he could say, oh, it's not my team and I've inherited other... He signed all the players, so unfortunate as a manager, when you sign the players and they don't get results, you're going to get the chop. And but I'm sure he'll come back into management. I don't think this will be the last you'll see or hear of Jim Goodwin. I think he'll get back in somewhere.
Well, after the axe has fallen, you always get some players coming out and going, we'll let the manager down. I hope none of them say that, by the way. They were just absolutely woeful. Tam's right. They chucked it. Some of them were absolutely abysmal on the day. Even the recent signing, Graham Shinney, actually watched from the corner. I watched him stand on the edge of the box, and Josh Campbell ran off him 10 yards away from him and headed the ball into the back of the net. It was dire.
I think you could look at the 6 goals and every one of them were dire. Every one of them were not a great goal. Obviously, you get credit if you score a hat-trick, but as a team, every goal was poor, and the longer the game went on, when it got to 4, you could see that the heads really going down. In the 6th goal, I mean, to get caught in halfway line and Nisbet gets his goal, it was just poor, and it's unfortunate for Jim Goodwin because generally managers get sacked not on a game day. Usually get sacked during the week, you get sacked when there's no a game.
Yeah.
And he probably asked for the other game, and I know a lot of people are saying he was hung out to dry and everything, but I think Jim would have wanted another game. I think he would have wanted to try and turn it round, and unfortunately it never worked for him, and he had to, as you say, depart very shamefulness.
Yeah, I have to say I disagree with you on that, Ruffy. Basically, whether Jim wanted it or not, I don't think it should have been his call. I think it was a bizarre statement from Dave Cormack after the Darvo farce. Jim is a man who knows he lives or dies by his results, his signings, his team, the way they play. And Dave Cormack should have shown a little bit of mettle and not given him that opportunity on a game-by-game stay of execution. It was like walking a tightrope with no net. And this is what Dave Cormack had to say after the game when he came into the press room to explain why he'd sacked Jim Goodwin.
I apologise to our fans because they deserve better. It's not a lack of investment. When you run a business, whether it's a football club or in my background in software companies, it's about having a strategy and a vision. That's all fair and well, but it's down to having the right people in place at the right time that are able to execute. And I'm determined, from my perspective and the board's perspective, to continue to drive this forward, because we're obviously looking for a new stadium to build. And I won't say any kind of more about that, but embarrassed, humiliated, just shell-shocked at the last week.
There you are. He went on for quite a considerable amount of time to explain it all, and obviously said, it's not down to a lack of investment, which is another quote which just basically says the manager got the players and he just couldn't get anything out of them.
the whole thing's just results. So I mean, that's what football comes down to. And if you get beat 5-0 by Hearts, 1-0 by Darvel, and 6-0 by Hibs, that's it. It's domino. It doesn't matter if you're Ancelotti. I mean, you just you know. And I think the manner of the defeats as well. You know, you can get freak results in football. We all know that. You can get a day where the team. But the manner, the results and the performance, you know, the performances or a lack of performance in the team, you just say, well, something's got to go and something's got to change, and the manager has to go. Can
I ask you just one little brief thing before we're going to hear the interim statement from Aberdeen on who's going to take over. But is it down to the fact that the players that were signed were woeful, or is it down to the fact that the manager just couldn't organise the team the way it should have been to actually get the results?
I think it's difficult. Listen, I've been in this situation as well as a player. I don't think any player would ever actually chuck it on the park. I think a severe lack of confidence going throughout the team. I don't think any Aberdeen player went out to play poorly. I don't think any of them went out to not to work hard. I just think that the whole team is just... They're just lacking confidence at the minute. And
you just said they chucked it on the park.
I mean chuck it. I don't mean actually chucking it. You don't chuck it on the park. I mean, you just mentally you're gone. You're shot to pieces. I don't think physically you chuck it. You keep running with players. You keep going. But I just think they needed a change, and Jim had to go. For the players, they've got to take a look at themselves as well. I don't think it's obviously all on the manager. I think some of the players they signed are good players. I think Miovski's a good player. Duke's a good player. Ramdani's a good player. I think defensively is where they've been terrible. I think Scales has been poor. The boy Anthony Stewart's been terrible. You know, defensively they've been really, really poor, and that's where it's all come down to. You know, losing too many goals. And I think offensively they've been decent. They've scored a lot of goals, particularly at Pittodrie. Home performances have been okay, but their away record, they've no guts, they've no steel, they've no character to go and get a result away from home, and that showed in abundance on Saturday.
Yeah, okay. The future now is for someone else to try and sort out the mess that Aberdeen find themselves in with the performances. This is what they had to say about the interim appointment. The club has acted swiftly to put in place an interim coaching team to oversee first team matters until a new manager is appointed. Led by Barry Robson, the coaching team will comprise of Steve Agnew, a highly experienced coach who worked with Barry at Middlesbrough, and development phase coach Scott Anderson. An update on the search for a new manager will be communicated in due course, but in the meantime everyone at the club will get behind Barry and his coaching team, who are fully focused on getting the team back on track to achieving our goal of European football. Okay, so he's in there. Just briefly on this before we start to switch to the other results from the weekend. Hugh, who takes it? What does it need? Is there a name in your mind that you think is ideally suited to get this job?
Well, not really, because I think you've got to look at, it's still what they call, he's talking about strategy, he's talking about, you know, we've got a big vision. So it's got to be a manager that matches that vision, you know, and it's got to be a manager that obviously Dave Cormack wants to buy into to his game plan. I don't think his strategy is going to change, and that's going to be the rub, you know, because, you know, a lot of managers want to come in and do it their way, and he'll be saying, no, I want to do it this way.
Yeah.
So that's got to be cleared. There's nobody that strikes me as you know, a standout. I mean, I know there's people already, you know, throwing their hat into the ring, as they say.
Chris Wilder.
Chris Wilder, very experienced coach, big pedigree as well as a coach, did very well. And there'll be others. There's other situations that, you know, Tab Ramos has been linked to the job because of the American connection. Will he go to America again? Will he go and get a coach from there? Nothing really springs to mind.
Yeah. Ruffy, I mean, if it was me, I would look at it and say to myself, who knows the division? Who can get something out of them? You know, David Martindale, I wonder if he's maybe just that. It's not. I'm not using the word toxic. Is it just that people are scared of using someone with that back catalogue? Is it going against them? I wonder. But over and above that, does it need a Neil Lennon? Does it need a Paul Lambert? Does it need a former Dons person? Who knows?
I don't think a former Dons person would work, you know, and I keep thinking of what Neil Lennon did at Hibs when he went to Hibs. You know, he revitalised them, got all the support behind the club, you know, and he ruled quite fiercely. If it was me, I would go for somebody like Malcolm Mackay. I think Malcolm Mackay's done well at Ross County, and I think he's got the experience at England and up here, and I think he's got the kind of stature that would do well there.
David Martindale.
Yeah.
I don't know if Dave Martindale would take the job. He's got to be on a short list. I think when you look at how well he's done at Livingston, you know, he's got them in cup finals. You know, he's punching well above their weight. Don't think any of the players up there would get away with what they're getting away with now in terms of, you know, attitude and performances. I think he's got to be on a short list, Peter. David Martindale. I mean, as I said, he runs everything at Livingston. He runs the ins and outs. Does he want to go up there and be dictated to by Cormac? I don't know, so we'll have to wait and see, but he's got to be on a short list, Dave Martindale.
Yeah, okay. What's your choice on it? Give us your thoughts. If you're an Aberdeen fan, who would you like to see in the hot seat there at Pittodrie? Let's take nothing away from Hibs. You still have to score goals, and this is a club that we're going into the match. We were calling it El Sakiko, 2 wins in 10, 2 derby defeats off the back of it, and in the end they managed their first home win in 4 games, and Kevin Nisbet, back in a Hibs jersey, comes on as a sub and bops one into the back of the net as well. I think Lee Johnson was happy to have him back. He wanted to start, but the manager was having none of that.
You know, he rang me up yesterday. He said, "Look, I'm coming back and I want to start." I'm like, "Do you know what I mean?" I'm like, "Look, we've worked all week. You've been away for a week. You haven't kicked a ball in anger, but obviously I'll get you on, and we've got another game Tuesday." But I think he had that sort of laser focus, if you like, and he has to keep scoring goals.
There's a lot of mystery surrounding why he came back. Is it to do with something that was spotted in the medical? Is it to do with, you know, it could be he didn't fancy Millwall. It could be that he, you know, something that players just get a vibe that it doesn't suit them, or it could be that there might be something else sniffing in the background. There's still 24 hours or so to go.
Yeah, there is. Listen, it could be a combination of everything you just mentioned there. I don't think there's anything wrong with Kevin Nisbet fitness-wise or physically. You know, I think he's in the shape of his life. I think he looks lean, strong, quick. You know, so I don't think it would have been the medical. Maybe there was something that Millwall weren't happy with. I don't know. And as you said, maybe he went down to Millwall and seen the place and thought, I don't fancy it. I don't know. Nobody will know. So, but what I do know is he's flying at the minute. Another goal at the weekend. He'll be looking to score as many goals as he can for now. If he doesn't get his move tomorrow, then he'll probably get a move in the summer. He's just looking to score as many goals, stay in the team at Hibs, and the more goals he scores, the better he plays, and the better a move he's going to get. So the ball's in his court, really.
He must have thought he was going to Millwall. Did you see the size of the case he had at the airport? It was mega. It was as if you were going away for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So he must have thought, I'm going down here to stay because I'm going to take enough place for it.
Yeah. Do you know, I don't think, I genuinely don't
it wasn't a wee trolley, wasn't it? No, it wasn't one of the
I haven't heard that punditry anywhere across the weekend, but that's the insight we've missed.
Well, it wasn't the wee trolley that you take if you're just travelling.
Yeah. You think he was going to sign and play and taking clothes to him just
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
There you are, that's the insight. This is Ruffy Clouseau, you know, just looking into it in greater detail. We never spotted that, Hugh, did we?
No, we missed that one, but I thought, I mean, mystery does surround it. I mean, it's unless you get it from the horse's mouth precisely what happened there, but it would seem very unlikely to me that, you know, that you would turn your nose up even. I mean, you know, you're not going to San Siro when you're going to Millwall, but you do know that you're going to be a millionaire.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're going to be a millionaire because that salary, I don't know what's that, but championship salary is 8 to 10 grand. It just needs a 4-year, you know, couple of year deal, you're a millionaire. 4-year deal, you've got a couple of million. So I don't know what happened there. It usually all comes out in the wash. I wish him well, whatever happens, by the way.
Yeah.
Because I think he's a good player.
He's still red hot.
He's still red hot. He's scoring goals. So I wish him well, whatever happens.
Okay, Ibrox, Rangers 2, St Johnstone 0. This one was comfortable in the end. Tavernier from the penalty spot. Kamara getting a goal. It's been a while, so he was delighted to get the goal. 3 points for Rangers at that point. They'd reduced the gap in Celtic to 6 points, but all the furore after it yet again was about referees. 2 incidents, Tam. First of all was St Johnstone's a red card, and should Ryan Jack have been shown a red card?
St Johnstone's red card, no, I don't think it was a red card, and I'm not surprised that St Johnstone are appealing it today. I think that he's went in to win the ball. I don't think there was any severe force or pace in the tackle. He just took a bad touch and kind of lunged in. I think he won the ball. So I don't think that was a red card. Ryan Jack, I don't think that was a red card either. I think when you look at the tackle, he's in with force, but I don't think his foot's high. I think it's along the ground, and I don't think it studs. He's kind of sideways to win the ball. I thought a yellow card was the right call for that. So I thought the referee, he got that one right, but I didn't think he got the other one right. And I thought the penalty, we'll probably talk about that, I thought that was soft as well. But the penalty, we talk about handballs every Monday. Yeah. Nobody knows. You could give a penalty for that, and I think Celtic, the one that came off the boy's hand yesterday, and it was similar. So they gave a penalty for that. I don't know what's going on with the handballs.
Yeah. Ruffy, do you agree with him?
I agree with the first one. I thought the St Johnstone player went to win the ball. He did win the ball and he did follow through, but I don't think he followed through to hurt the player. I think it was just a collision of their two knees hitting together at the follow through that hurt the Rangers player. So for me, a yellow card maybe. It wouldn't have been a red card. I don't agree with Tom. I thought it was a red card. I thought Ryan Jack's challenge was there. It was force. It was for distance. He came in, and you just have to look at his face when he got up. He knew what he had done, and it was a red card for me.
Hugh?
Red card both. I think there was no force in Nicky Clark's, but because his studs were up and high on the knee, I think that's reckless. And I think Ryan Jack, because of the force, I think that was endangering an opponent.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't have been shocked if they're both been yellows, but I think they're both reds. And if you're asking about handball, I certainly just don't know anymore. I really don't think some of the referees know anymore either, because there's been a real inconsistency with handballs all the time. We're kind of told, they're going to be, just after the World Cup, we're going to be a bit easier on handballs than we were before the World Cup. But it's back to where it was, at the beginning of the season. And I suppose I wasn't surprised that handball was given.
I think the referees are that confused now. They're just getting a penalty if it hits your hand.
Can I ask you a question?
I don't think they're looking into it.
Do you think that referees now? I'm just throwing this out there. I'm not saying it's set in stone. This is a show where we throw things up in the air. Do you think referees, apart from being at times poor, the standard here in Scotland, do you think some of them are absolutely scared of making the big calls when it comes to Celtic and Rangers in games?
Yeah, I think there's a definite element in that, and I think it's right at the top end as well. I don't think it's just the guy that's getting his first Celtic and Rangers game. I think, for example, Wally Collum's call at the Kilmarnock game, the semi-final, how that's not a penalty. I don't know how you can make a case for that not being a penalty. I don't know how I would like to sit down with somebody, any referee, and say, that wasn't given, it didn't go to VAR. Can you please tell me, as a man that's watched football in 8 different decades, what I've got wrong here? That a ball's coming in and a guy jumps on top of a guy and he falls down. So I think as well with Don Robertson, I think he gave that initial penalty for Celtic just because he knew somebody could have a look at it. He had a second shot at it.
Yeah.
I don't think he just wanted to blow it away. I think if I give it...
Well, why didn't he do that with a handball then?
I know, but that's what I'm saying. The inconsistency is just... I really don't understand it. But I think, yes, referees are under huge pressure. And I think, yes, I think it's always been the case that pressure can get to them as human beings.
Yeah, of course it's always been the case, but is it intensified even more now? Because, and the reason why I mention this, Tam, is apart from the overall criticism and the power that Celtic and Rangers have, in the background, I'm talking about there's an element of our society now where they're open to a baying mob, and everyday life becomes a little bit precarious, treacherous at times.
It is, the scrutiny of social media now for referees and officials is massive. If you make a decision as a referee, particularly when it's involved Celtic Rangers, listen, if it's St Mirren against Kilmarnock, it's not going to be under that much scrutiny. But if it's involving Celtic Rangers, then it's going to go absolutely mental on social media. We're going to be talking about it on shows. Different shows are going to be talking about it. It's got highlighted on BBC, on Sports and and stuff like that. So I do think there is an element of being scared to give the big decisions now. And you know, I can't believe for the life of me why, when we'll talk about the Celtic game later, how he gave a penalty for the goalkeeper coming out and winning the ball. I mean, it was madness. But
is Willie Collum past it? Because I noticed a couple of referees who probably wouldn't be, you know, referees weren't known for putting their head above the parapet, but it's great if you're leaving. It's great for us if you're leaving the fraternity and you can suddenly pass comment. You know, I know a number of referees have thought, no, he's past his best.
Yeah, I think when you look at him this season, particularly the introduction of VAR, he seems to be making a lot of crucial errors. As you spoke about the semi-final and the penalty kick, I think there were a couple of tough decisions at the weekend there. I think the 2 tackles. You know, I did say I didn't think Ryan Jack's was a red card, but if you're giving the red card to Clark, then I think you've got to give the red card to Jack, because you've set your you know, you set your stall out with the first red card, and I think there were similar kind of tackles. I didn't think either were red cards. So yeah, he's not having a good time at the minute.
Funny you saying that, because that's exactly what the St Johnstone boss Callum Davison says.
Probably starting Nicky Clark one. I thought it was really harsh. I thought the player was getting fouled originally. I thought he's lost his balance a little bit as he's gone to ground. He's flicked the ball around. Ryan Jack's come in to him at force, not other way around. So I generally just can't get it. I don't understand it. You know, so a really big decision. I definitely didn't think it was a red card, and then obviously the tackle on Adam, which I thought was really late. It was at speed, it was at force. He's gone to check it. I've seen replays of it. It's gone at speed, at force. He's missed it. He's gone straight leg with studs at Adam's ankle, and it's a yellow card. So there you go. That sums up the game.
Yeah, that sums up the game, says Callum Davison. What do you think of it all? It's all subjective, as many people have pointed out. Robert says if the first one's a red, the second one's definitely a red. And Soak is on. It goes from one to the other with the opinions on it. There's just so many of them, I don't want to read them all out. And there's obviously conspiracy theorists as well, who wonder if, you know, Jack Ruby and you know, Lee Harvey Oswald could be involved in this feed. There's no point reading it all out. Listen, what about Rangers? Because apart from anything else, got the 3 points. Todd Cantwell had his debut. Glenn Kamara gets a goal, and there's now real chat about possibly another addition to the squad. I know Michael Beale had mentioned that he wouldn't be too peeved if he didn't sign anybody else. Nicholas Raskin getting closer to a deal done. Whether he's going to be announced tomorrow or not, only time will tell. I certainly think Rangers fans will be hoping that, because there's a big game on Wednesday night for Rangers at Tynecastle, a real test, and Michael Beale and Antonio Cholak were speaking today to Kerry Pollock.
Here at the Rangers Training Centre this afternoon, Michael Beale spoke to us ahead of their game against Hearts on Wednesday night at Tynecastle. But more important things around the club, transfer deadline day is just around the corner, and with a certain Nicholas Raskin related to Rangers, here's what the Ibrox boss had to say about the young midfielder.
Listen, he's an excellent player, there's loads of interest in him, he's got a lot of options, I believe. He's someone that can connect the midfield and the forwards. I think he's technically a very, very good player. He can play as a 6 or an 8. And yeah, he'd be a good signing for someone.
We also heard from Antonio Cholak this afternoon, and after spending quite some time on the sidelines, he's hoping to get back to his goal scoring ways sooner rather than later.
To continue the same way, you know, it's I'm hungry for goals. I just want to continue the same way. I mean, you can see now in our formation and style how we play. It's of course I want to score, but you can see how often you can assist, how often you can help the team to involve other players into situations, into chances, and yeah, I just want to be the best version of myself.
I think Rangers have missed Antonio Cholak.
I think they have as well. I think that they've missed his goals. I think he's a penalty box striker. His goal scoring record was excellent before he picked up his injury. So I think it'll be a big boost for him coming back. I think they need competition for places. I've basically only got Morelos, the only real fit, experienced striker. So he knows he's going to play every week. So you need that competition as a striker. You need somebody breathing down your neck to elevate your game as well, to make you play better, because you know there's somebody waiting to take your place. So I think the more Rangers players get back from injury, the better for them.
Yep, Robbie McCrory's out for 2 to 3 weeks. Sakala is back in contention as well. Michael Beale, at this moment, I think Morgan Whittaker is going to be staying with Swansea. But if Nicholas Raskin, if that deal's all signed and sealed, that will be, I think, the start of this Michael Beale, not say revolution, but it's certainly the start of him building his own team.
I think it will be a revolution.
You think so?
Yeah. I think
with a lot of people out?
I think it has to be. I think he's obviously brought in 2 midfielders, which brings his number of midfielders up to, 6, 8. He doesn't need that many. So you've got to look at some going out there. I think he really needs a centre half. So you would think that he would have to empty some of the centre halves that he has, and you also think that we don't know what's going to happen with Morelos or Kent. I think it would be more than likely that Morelos goes, so he needs another striker at least. So I think it'll be a revolution, and one that obviously with the clock ticking down on this transfer window, one that will not really be addressed in this transfer window. But I think it'll be a really busy summer at Ibrox, and I think there'll be a lot of conversations between now and the summer to get people off the books so that it frees up wages for people to come in.
Yeah, who stays and who goes? And of course, Celtic fans will be asking a similar question. I think Ange Postecoglou has already highlighted that 2 or 3 of the midfielders that he has have the chance to, if they can, get a move out because there's no future for them at Celtic. So all that list of players, whether it's at Rangers or Celtic and elsewhere, will become apparent as we get to the summer. But for now, Celtic were faced with a 6-point advantage, having to win at Tannadice, and in the end, they had more than enough in reserve to see off Liam Fox's side, although it wasn't the 9-0 the last time they visited Tayside.
No, I thought early on in the game, and particularly in the first half, I thought Dundee United were going to make it really difficult for Celtic. They got everybody behind the ball any time that Celtic got run about the 20-yard mark. There was at least 10 Dundee United players in the box, which is very difficult to pass through. And I think for a while they would have thought they were doing particularly well. But I've said it on numerous occasions, if you get Celtic 75% of possession in a game, eventually they're going to wear you down because there's a game plan that Dundee United had. And all you need is one player not to do the game plan, and Celtic are in. They're so quick, run about the 18-yard line. I thought the 2 goals they got were very fortunate, but at the end of the day they deserved to win.
Yeah, penalty decision. John Robertson, did he make the right call?
I think I can't understand the penalty decision because if he gives it, and he's obviously given it from, he says it's been reckless, the keeper coming out, I don't know how you can rescind that. I really don't. I mean, if you've given that decision, what is a television operator going to, he's given it because he feels the goalkeeper and the defender squeezed Kyogo and it's been reckless.
Funny you saying that though. Give me your immediate reaction, because when I was watching it and the keeper came out and I watched him punch the ball and I looked and I was sitting there and I remember just shouting out, that's not a penalty.
Well, I don't think it was either.
Yeah.
But I think once you give it, you say, why is it clear and obvious error? You've given it for probably the goalkeeper coming out there. Anyway, I think VAR came to the right decision in that one.
I think it sums up that the referees have only got one look at it. And I saw he looked at it and thought it was, and thank God there was a VAR.
He took his time about it. I think there was a bit of, I'll just blow for this, and maybe VAR.
Then the safety kicks in.
I don't know how you could ever think that was a penalty, even at first view. It was never ever a penalty kick. He just comes out and wins the ball. And as a night striker myself, you get in there with one eye on the goalkeeper. You're going to get clattered. That's what happens.
Yeah.
Goalkeeper comes out, punches a ball, and he takes the defender and Kyogo out. That's what happens.
Funnily enough,
never a penalty.
You've made a broad generalisation there, but there are down through the years keepers who, when the ball comes into the box like that, you'll get that free header. Because Ruffy never came out and cleared anything. He just thought, well, if the centre half's not getting it, the centre forward's going to get a chance to head it into the net.
It was old
Union, Dracula, scared of crosses.
It was all union demarcation disputes. You only had to do just your
job
job and nobody else's.
Yeah,
well, you can imagine the risk of injury coming out between the two players.
As soon as you said it, Ruffy, I thought, Tam, there are some keepers who are just not coming out.
I got a couple of crackers getting my goalkeepers early in my career. I remember I get one at Parkhead. Brotto was a goalkeeper for Celtic.
Yeah,
the ball bounced and I went in, brave as a lion, never again. He caught me, if his VAR was about to win a penalty, he caught me with stud marks all the way up there, came out with a straight leg like that. Now to get the ball and caught me, and I never ever went into a goalkeeper again. I just went, have it.
Yeah,
I'm not getting near it.
Absolutely, that's what I like. That's why you're here. That yellow streak in you. But you're there as well. And Ruffy's is underneath his sweatshirt. It was Ange Postecoglou's 50th win in 61 league games, so he was a well happy man. And of course, for the majority of them, no surprise, his captain Callum McGregor has been at the forefront of them.
The greatest sort of compliment I can pay him is that he plays every game as if it's his first. He plays every game as if he's got everything to prove, even though he's done it all. He trains every day like he's the new kid in the building, and he's an outstanding individual. Credit to himself, his family, and because of the way he is, I know there's so much more to come. But great that the lads could get the victory today for his recognition of the service he's given the club already.
Yeah, well, if he's well happy with Callum McGregor, suddenly it looks as if Giacomakis' time as a Celtic player will be over. I think the next 24 hours he'll be off, and he'll have a squad with maybe still 3 or 4 that he probably would have liked to have get rid of in this window as well.
Yeah, but I think that was no surprise to anyone that he was going to leave. I think when you bring in another striker, Kyogo seems to be his number one at the minute. Plays in most games. He's got O who come on. He's going to be the backup striker. There's no room for Giacomakis. I think he's come in, he's done very well for Celtic. I think you've got to give him credit. He scored a lot of important goals for Celtic. He was a bargain buy in my opinion. From Venlo in Holland. He's done well. Listen, he's 28 years old. We've spoke about it so many times. It's his last chance of getting a big move. He's obviously going over there, in my opinion, he's going over there for money. And fair play to him. You've got to do that as a player. You've got to look after yourself, your family. He'll go over there, sign a 3 or 4 year deal, double his money probably he's on at Celtic, and I think that'll be him. He'll, once he serves that kind of 3 or 4 years, 32, 33, then that'll be him kind of winding his career down. But this is his one big move, and you've got to take advantage of it. Yeah,
you just wonder. They're talking about Abelgard, they're talking about James McCarthy moving on. You wonder if Stephen Welch wants to sit on the bench all the time. I don't
think he does either.
Well, if Aberdeen are looking and Hibs are looking for centre halves,
but Welsh maybe have higher ambitions, because there was Serie A clubs sniffing about him at one time.
It's a good point, Hugh.
And he might be looking at. The only thing, what you've got to think about is that, Starfelt and Carter Vickers have nailed down those places, but the Japanese player coming in, Kobayashi, you can see he's tall, he's strong, and crucially, he gives that left-footed thing where, teams target Starfelt a lot in pressing, because they know he's playing as a left centre back and he's a right foot, and he's not as comfortable pinging the ball.
Yeah.
So Starfelt might find himself relegated. I know you've got your views on Starfelt. I think Starfelt's been great for Celtic. I really do. I think he's been good, but I think he'd be under pressure. But that's in 3 strong centre halves. Is there somebody come up through the academy as well, makes it a 4th? I don't think they'll be desperate to get rid of Welsh. But I think they would take a price for him.
Remember, the other thing about it is our opinions tend to be more scathing August to November, because you're watching them suddenly, Rangers and Celtic and potentially a third team like a Hearts coming up against Europe, and then you see the gap and the quality that we're watching here in comparison to the type of players that are clever, that are really exposing them.
And you get away with things. I noticed the Celtic game yesterday, it's even like heresy to say that Callum McGregor, I think, is the best player in Scotland, and I rate very highly. A couple of wee touches, passes, that would have killed you in Europe. But you're playing against Dundee United, and he actually wins it back. So you're right. But the higher level you go all the time, it just gets more unforgiving as you go up. But I think they would listen to a good offer for Welsh. Yes.
Yeah. Surprisingly, there's real talk that in the next 24 hours, Tony Watt could be on his way as well. It looks as if he could be going back to Belgium.
Yeah, we sat in this show when I think it was at Motherwell, and we all thought, well, he's found a club. He's actually settled in. He's found somewhere everybody loves him. He's scoring goals. Then all of a sudden he's away in the United and he's away abroad. Maybe he's just that kind of guy. Maybe he just likes to travel. Maybe he's like, he just doesn't want to be big. He'll have a right big suitcase.
I was just about to say, we'll need you, if you could check that out for us, Ruffy, and just see what size of suitcase is taking.
About 20 kilogram, I'll need to buy extra baggage.
We've done that before, by the way. Don't kid yourself.
22.
Yeah, 22.
22 is it?
But listen, what about Dundee United? Well, okay, they put up a better fight of it, but they're not out of the mire yet. But I think Liam Fox certainly thinks there are positive signs.
Maybe previously in the campaign we've kind of went under a wee bit, but I think we've seen that both the Rangers game and the Celtic game, that listen, we don't ever want to be 2 goals behind, but it didn't get any worse. The boys stuck together, they stuck to what we're asking them to do, and they showed a wee bit of character and a wee bit of resolve.
Okay, Dundee United, are they your tip for relegation, possibly the playoff? What about Ross County? And now it starts, Ruffy, and now it starts, because they bring in Brophy 10 minutes into the game, boom, debut goal, they win by 3-0, and you and I know, usually from January on to May, Ross County please Jan the Staggy, and they start to move away from there. Are they going to do it again?
Yeah, I think they are. You know, we all know what Malky can do. You know, he seems to identify the right player at the right time. I mean, Brophy will not get an easier goal in his first game. You know, but apart from that, he looks as if he wants to convince people that he is the player that we all thought he was early on. He was in the fringes of getting into a Scotland squad a wee while ago. So no, that'll be a good start for him, and I think the big boy White needs somebody up beside him anyway. But no, they look as if they're a team like Dundee United who can win games. If you're winning games, obviously you're getting 3 points. The other teams aren't winning games.
Yeah.
They're not getting points. Yeah. You know, and that's a problem.
Well, I'm not sink to the bottom.
Kelly, I mean, the other thing about it is I know you've been adamant about it. We'll give you credit, Ruffy, don't worry about it when it happens. But if Kelly were to go down, I think you've got to look and say to yourself, you know, 10 games out, Kyle Lafferty has absolutely done his manager in.
Yeah, I don't think that's helped him, but I don't think they've got enough goals in their team. I really don't. I think Kyle Lafferty getting on now, think Championship, he's banged goals in Premier League. Don't think he's got it now to score 10 goals for Kilmarnock. Christian Doidge, I thought it was a poor signing. You know, I watched him at Hibs. I don't think he scored a goal in about 2 years.
They haven't won a single game away from home all season.
2 points they've picked up, out of 30 odd. The boy Vassell, I think he needs to try and get another striker, and he needs somebody to score goals. They're heavily reliant on the wee boy Armstrong, who looks a real player going forward. But apart from that, I don't see anything in that Kilmarnock team.
Well, the interesting thing about the game yesterday, Celtic, I thought if you take Celtic team out of it because they were so dominant, I thought Stephen Fletcher was outstanding yesterday. He won every duel that he was involved in.
Yeah.
Everything he did was positive to the team. And you could see that on another day with more possession played to him in better areas than that. You could say, you know what, I can see him scoring 5 to 10 goals between now and the end of the season. And that may not sound much to people, but 5 to 10 goals translated into points
saves you. Yeah. St Mirren 1, Motherwell 0, and you know, as you suddenly take your gaze away from Jim Goodwin, you start looking at Stephen Hamill and thinking he's under pressure, and Motherwell will be looking, wondering, you know, they're not out of it, they're now in it with 4 teams on 20 points. St Mirren with a crucial goal from Curtis Main coming back to haunt his old club, and over and above that, Stephen Robinson is still trying to juggle things because he knows he might lose some players.
I do expect more people to leave. As I say, there's things bubbling in the background. We're not in a position, you know, we're trying to get the best price for people, but we're not in a position to turn good offers down. And as I say, I'm sure the board will help me reinvest. It's not the way I like to do recruitment in terms of, you know, quick decisions and turnarounds, but, you know, that's a situation we're in, and we've got ideas and we've got people that we like. So as I say, if people do leave the club, I'm sure the board will, they'll help me.
Yeah, difficult times, Ruffy, for St Mirren.
It's difficult times for a lot of clubs, and that's why I think there might be a panic, you know, because none of these clubs down the bottom can afford to drop into the Championship because they're all posting losses.
Yeah.
Big losses, massive losses. And if they drop, as soon as you drop out of that Premiership, you're $1 million, $2 million down.
And of course, every decision, every manager is now hanging on every call. VAR analysed. Stephen Hamill not happy.
Yeah, well, I don't even know if they check it or whatever. We get no information from them. I think the message was the communication between the officials and the managers will be good and that will be clear, but you don't get much information about it at all. But the fact they've not even asked the referee to have a look at it, it's massively frustrating.
Okay, they're under the cosh.
If only VAR was about to see that penalty incident,
Yeah.
Absolute stonewaller. I mean, how can you, again, he's just dragged them down to the ground. So I understand Stephen Hamill been very upset there, and it's those decisions. The handballs are, interpretation of the referees, but clear penalties where a corner kick comes in, the defender just drags the guy to the ground, it's a penalty, and they don't even, according to Stephen, don't even check it, have a look at it again. Who would be a manager in Scotland?
Yeah, absolutely. Livingston 0, Hearts 0. Who would have been a paying pundit watching the first half of that game? I lost the will to live. It was absolutely dire. But the upside of it all is that Hearts still in a good place, get a point, and they were playing on I hate to bump on about it, Ruffy, but the park's murder. It's terrible.
And I'm sure if you asked any player on that park, they will agree 100%. You can't get a touch on it. You're tripping on bits. It just doesn't feel natural. When you see the players running for the ball, they're not even running for it natural. And you see people slipping here and slipping there. And you're right. You would like somebody to bring in a rule to say, right, you need to have grass. Because I'm sure 100% of the players for Livingston would want to play on grass.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, thankfully, with a few of us with our birthdays coming up, Robbie Nielsen won't be giving us that one on DVD.
We'll not be getting any Christmas DVDs for that game, to be fair. No football in it at all, really. Difficult to play, but it's always the same when you come here. It's when the opportunities arise with 2-1 at the end of the first half, when it starts the second half, if you don't take them, then you don't deserve to take 3 points.
Yeah, okay, still, Hearts on a really good run, and when you consider some of the players that they've got on board now, they do play good football when they're on a half-decent park, and it's going to be a humdinger of a game. I'm looking forward to it for Wednesday, Hearts against Rangers.
They left some players out as well, for reasons that probably protect them a bit. For Wednesday, I know some players have got issues playing on artificial surface as well. But that's a great game on Wednesday, and I mean that's just, that's one of the great fixtures, isn't it?
Yeah.
Wednesday night, Tynecastle, Hearts v Rangers.
Floodlights, bubbling.
Yeah.
And it's not on the TV, by the way.
I know.
Well, that's the other thing about it. There'll be absolutely
shambles.
So many people will be upset about that. I mean, you could sell it out twice over.
Yeah, and I think first time is as soon as you mention Tynecastle, you just talk about the atmosphere, particularly against Rangers and Celtic. It is exciting to be in there, and you can feel the whole crowd, lifting themselves. The players don't have to lift themselves, but you can feel the fans lifting themselves for their games.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, Livingston are involved in a cracker on Wednesday night as well, because they'll be taking on St Johnstone, desperate for points. St Johnstone.
That's on the telly.
No, it's not on the telly. It's not even on. It's not even on.
You get it somewhere.
It's not even on a satellite. Even people who maybe pick it up across Europe, I'm not going to watch it. But Livingston against St Johnstone. So Davy Martindale was talking today, and our reporter Kerry Pollock was there.
Here at Livingston today, David Martindale is preparing his men to take on league leaders Celtic on Wednesday night. There seems to be a particular stigma that surrounds teams heading to Glasgow, but David Martindale reminded us there is no fear factor from his men heading into this clash.
I'm not scared. No, not at all. I don't think any of the players in that change room. No, I don't think so. I don't think it's a fear factor. I think for me it's respect rather than fear. So you give them the respect that they're due, and they're due that respect. Celtic, especially at this point in time, there's some huge teams went to Parkhead this season and struggled. May have won it. Look at the Real Madrid game. I thought Celtic were incredible for 60 minutes. They were an inch away from taking the lead with Callum McGregor shot. So it's more a respect than fear, and that's how I kind of see it.
And Jason Holt believes now that the team are fourth in the Premiership table, maybe the West Lothian side doesn't get the credit it deserves.
Probably not, to be fair. I don't think so. I think Livingston gets tagged quite a bit with styles they play and stuff, which I think is not true and isn't fair. But that's fine. That's fine with us. We just concentrate on things, training pitch and game days, and keep doing as well as we can. I think we've shown in the league so far we can compete with most teams.
Yeah, I don't know why I say it's St Johnstone, Ruffy. It's Livingston away to Celtic. My apologies, but I still think not many people other than fanatical Celtic fans will be tuning in to see the game rather than the Hearts Rangers game. But nevertheless, David Martindale's refreshing. I like listening to him. I do like when they're on a good park, that they're not just a big long ball or a team of cluggers. They've got some good footballers.
Yeah, no, that might have been the case 2 years ago, and because that's what they played to. They played to their strengths. Long throw-ins, free kicks into the box, just been hard to beat. But now they're on a wee run, they're on a confident run of winning games and taking scalps. So they've got to park ahead, but it'll be the usual. It'll be how long they can hold out for. And the longer the game goes that they do hold out, they'll think they can take something out of the game.
This is one of those nights for the tranny to see exactly what's going one way and the other on this one. Here's the table for the Scottish Premiership, just to see it's still that 9-point advantage for Celtic over Rangers. Livingston tucked in nicely. They're still within striking distance, probably with that little bit of belief, Tam, that they can at least try and peg Hearts back at some point. They would have wanted to do it at home against them, but it ended up with a stalemate.
Yeah, they've got a game in hand. They're 7 points behind Hearts. They've got a game in hand. I don't think there'll be any fear of them getting involved at the bottom. I think they'll finish in the top 6 this season, Livingston guaranteed. And I think they'll be looking for maybe 4th place. I think Hearts will finish 3rd. So I think 4th, 5th, 6th. I think it's they've got St Mirren there, Hibs, Aberdeen. All of them would fancy maybe finishing 4th.
Is Livingston's position in effect really kind of a turning the screw on managers elsewhere whose budgets are by far bigger, who should have been doing a better job?
Yeah, absolutely. I think Livingston have got the lowest budget in the league. I don't think there's any doubt about that. They've got an AstroTurf pitch, and they've got an AstroTurf pitch that they train on beside it. Hibs have got a great training ground. Aberdeen have just built a brand spanking new training ground. Far bigger clubs in Livingston, far bigger budgets, and they're sitting ahead of both of them at the minute. So, yeah, I think that does put a bit of pressure on other managers.
We're going to talk in greater detail tomorrow on the programme about the fixtures in the Scottish Premiership in midweek, because there's lots of great games to talk about, and we'll also get your thoughts on it. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel. Thank you to so many of you week by week now. Thousands of people tuning into the show and consuming all our updated news on a regular basis with managers and players and our special features, and we've got one-to-ones as well and lots more coming up, some special ones that I think you will enjoy. So there's a lot of stuff there on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel, the website, and if you download the app, it's all at your fingertips. What about the pundits and the old predictor? If you have a look, I was nearly going to have an absolute nightmare of a week, Ruffy, but I'm still hanging in there, 4 points behind you. You've got 198, I've got 194, Tam's on 185, Alison 171, Tam Cowan on 163, and Hugh on 145.
The silence tells it all there. We've got a man who, I spoke about Aberdeen players chucking it. He's chucked it.
8 points.
Yeah. He did.
8 points.
You had a good one. Yeah.
Unfortunately, never got any in the Rangers game.
I've worked out at 145. I've worked out at 145 that you've got you. If you'd picked Rangers to win every week, you would probably be winning the predictor.
That's just your luck.
It's just your luck, absolutely. But it's good to have you in it. A couple of quick things before we go. We'll give you the answer to the quiz shortly, and we'll also give you the chance to enter our competition to win this fabulous Real Madrid Replicas shirt. Luka Modric Champions League badge on it as well. 14, doesn't get any better than that. Everton, Sean Dyche, manager. Right choice?
Yeah, I think in the position that they're in, he's the kind of manager that the teams down there identify. He'll know how to handle the situation. He'll know how to get the players going. He has got a good record, I believe. So, no, I think he's a good appointment.
Yeah, good enough to get them out of the mire?
It'll have to be, because it's an absolute catastrophe if they go down. This is Everton Football Club. It's got £600 million stadium getting built across the road. Who, if you go down, we know that you don't automatically bounce back up. I thought going after Bielsa was the most. I just wondered what they were smoking down there.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're in Bielsa's a terrific coach. If you're in a relegation battle,
he's not the man.
He's not the man. You've got to get somebody to get out of this relegation battle, take a deep breath in the summer, and decide where you're going. But you've got, and I think, given the players have lost in the window as well. Gordon's a good player. I think I don't think they get out of that relegation battle easy. I think they're lucky that there's a couple of clubs in there that, you know, they have the whiff of decay about them, but it's going to be tough getting them out of there.
Yeah, I think they've got the right man. They might do it by the skin of their teeth, in my mind. Liverpool, I'm a bit worried about, I'm sorry about that. We're running out of time, Tam. We're just going to get you quickly. I'm a bit worried that every time Liverpool suffer a defeat, they roll out Andy Robertson to tell everybody the truth. And there he is again. He's apologising. He says Liverpool are getting worse this season, and boy, do I know it.
They are. Klopp out for me.
No, don't be so stupid.
What? Get him out.
No way.
Get him out.
No, don't be so stupid.
I think his race might be run as well.
Yep.
Yeah, you think so? No chance to rebuild a team? No.
See, after
still in the Champions League, by the way.
Yep. And
there's much chance of them winning than there is Celtic Rangers.
I think if you look at his history, 7 years at Mainz, the 7th season ended badly. 7 years at Dortmund, it ended badly. And this is his Liverpool 7, so...
There you go, that man.
And if they win the Champions League, will you resign?
Yes, if Liverpool win the Champions League, I'll resign.
Ruffy, that is fantastic, isn't it? I mean...
That's going to happen, isn't it?
What about Napoli for the Champions League?
Well, that's a good shout as well. That's another programme. I'm going to give you the answer to the quiz, but can I just say to you, can you imagine that show that we do as a special one-off, and Ruffy comes in here and he's smiling as he just puts the paper down in front of him and he goes, well, it was 3 goals from Salah, just sign there, you're out of here, go on, back to East Kilbride, see if you get on Hibs TV. Anyway, thank you to so many of you for offering your opinion, and of course we're going to give you a quick chance to win that competition for the shirt.
It's another fantastic competition from PLZ Soccer. If you would like to win this replica Luka Modric shirt, then all you have to do is answer this simple question. Just tell us, which country does Luka Modric play for? Post your answer in the comment section below, and to double your chances of winning, don't forget to hit the subscribe button on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. Good luck.
It's an absolute belter. There it's there. Could be yours, and you never know. We might even deliver it to you. Ruffy is going to take the competition winner last week. He's going to take the prize to his house and hand over the signed.
Is that why he's from Motherwell?
Well, I didn't pick it, so at the end of the day, Ruffy's going to take it.
Who's the Hibs winner?
The Hibs winner is quite simply, it was 1968. And it was Peter Cormack, the last player. And Peter Cormack was a good player, wasn't he?
Oh, but went to Liverpool.
Yeah.
Terrific player. Made his debut against Real Madrid, I think.
Brilliant. That's why you're here, you.
Played against Napoli in the 5-0 game.
Yep.
Yeah, there you are. That's why you're here, Tam.
My manager at Partick Thistle.
And there you have it.
I played against his son.
And that's fantastic. There you are. You just can't beat this punditry. That's all I'm saying to you. Uncensored, unbiased, unmatched, 5 days a week, 4 o'clock till 5. You can watch it at your leisure, of course, on our YouTube channel with all the other content. Hit the subscribe button. We'll be back tomorrow. Another chance to enter the competition. And if you hit the subscribe button, you'll double your chances of possibly winning it as well. And all that remains for me to say to you is join us tomorrow if you can. Tuesday, Ruffy will be here.
The King is back.
And Tam Cowan will be sitting on the couch with us. Join us if you can. Thanks for watching today.